welcome to TOI Auto, and today we've got Martin with us. He is the global head of design for Tata Motors and of course the man behind the new age design language for these vehicles. And you all have been waiting to know more about this new concept SUV from Tata Motors, and no one better than Martin to speak about it. So thank you, Martin, for joining us on this
Thanks for coming.
And first of all, it's a very interesting concept, a coupe SUV, and that's very unique for the Indian market.
Yeah.
So why did you go in for a coupe SUV? I mean, first of all, I understand that SUVs are very popular in the
Yes.
market, but why a coupe SUV, considering that the sales of such SUVs, even in the premium segment, have been very limited?
Yeah, I mean, SUVs are the core of our portfolio and our brand now, pretty comprehensively from the Punch all the way to the Safari. And we were now looking at what is the next sort of white space territory, where can we expand that footprint. At the same time, driving our EVs, Nexon in particular, very dynamic, very actually engaging driving experience. So we've been seeing the emergence of SUV coupes in global markets, now quite strongly. And we felt it's the right time to introduce this typology into the Indian market. Because if you marry SUV as a core and then the coupe with the EV, actually that recipe makes a lot of sense.
Okay. And when you look at the overall design, I find it to be very sharp. It's
Yes.
a very edgy design. So why the name Curve?
Well, curve is actually a reflection of actually the cabin. So that arch, that curve, which defines what the car is in terms of typology. It's a coupe. So how do you express coupe with a single word? At the same time, again, coming back to that EV powertrain, it's very engaging. So the speed, the entertainment that you get by driving that powertrain really gives you that sort of feeling of carving. And at the same time, that was the backbone to coming up with the name Curve.
Okay. And when you talk about this, of course, I understand this is a concept car.
Yes.
When this goes into production, being an EV, weight is going to be a very important factor. So are you looking at any different mix of materials, something new in terms of Tata Motors usage?
I mean, we always have a target from weight overall. That's obviously very key to EV range,
Right.
to maximize the range and minimize anxiety. So yeah, of course, from an engineering point of view, but overall, we have a set weight target, which is in line with the range expectations.
Any plans of using a lot of recyclable materials?
Yes. What we really want to do is we want to expand this theme of sustainability. It's not just the powertrain, but actually, we want to see the customer have a actual tactile engagement with that. And I think that would be something that they would be interested in. So recyclable materials are definitely something that we're looking at for the production version.
And I'm sure you have been asked this question a lot of times already, but how much of this concept can we actually expect to see into production?
Yeah, we obviously we designed this with the production intent, and we have the design model of the production car in the studio as we speak, and it's more or less what you see here, other than a few small details which are the difference. But in terms of overall body and white dimensions, theme, all of the ideas that you see, all the lines that you see here will be in the production car.
And actually that statement is very true, because if you look at the history, if you look at the Harrier concept or even the Punch concept, a lot of it actually made it to
That's
the
right,
production
that's right.
version. So yes, I'm sure the expectations will be very high for this product as well. Now, when you talk about the cabin, if I understand correctly, you've got these screens, and
Yes.
they are not placed inside the center console. You have them sitting on top.
That's right.
So are these interchangeable? Can consumers expect that?
The plan with the screens was we really wanted to deconstruct the screens from the instrument panel, so we're not fixed to a certain dimension during the life cycle of the product. That's the first thing. Screen technology, consumer electronics technology moves much faster than an automotive industry. At the same time, just like with the Punch, we are going to introduce personas to the customer. So there will be a set menu of personas that the customer will pick, which is the right one for them. And at the same time, we will have a different set of screen options, sizes, and so forth, and technologies. So ultimately, the customer will be able to curate the car that they want, and that's the idea behind that.
And here in the concept, we see a 4-seat layout.
Yes.
In the production version, I'm assuming it would be a 5.
It'll be a 5-seat, but having said that, we've gotten a lot of interesting feedback during the last 2 days, during the launch of this concept about the sort of, 4-cockpit seat layout. And I think it's definitely something that we're going to review as maybe an interesting option.
And is there a name to this particular design language, Martin, that you're following now with the EVs?
We don't have a particular name. It's an evolution of our current design DNA. You can clearly see the lineage with all of our previous products. At the same time, it is the next generation in terms of the evolution. I always refer to it as, it has a digital subtext. We use digital tools more and more in the design field, so we design the cars now much more in that sort of way. At the same time, on the interior, you'll notice that whether it's the steering wheel, the HVAC controls, that are actually previews of what we're going to be introducing across all production cars. So that steering wheel, for instance, is the production steering wheel that we're going to introduce, where the logo is illuminated. It's no longer a 3D logo. And all of the switches are no longer analog switches, but they're what we call digital. So if you look at that, from an interface point of view and also from a surfacing point of view, that would be the way, the methodology is now actually influencing the design language.
And being an EV, there has to be a lot of focus on aerodynamics.
Yes.
So can you tell us a bit about the special measures you've taken in the design?
Yeah, this car, both the concept, but especially the production car, which mirrors this, has gone through a number of CFD studies, and also in a full-size wind tunnel, we've done a lot of analysis with it. So a lot of the design features, this floating bonnet, which is actually an air dam, the air scoops here. Also the fact that the body side is quite flat. That's all influenced by aerodynamics. The fact that the wheels are essentially a disc, they're very flat, but at the same time we wanted to make them interesting graphically. And the fact that the rear of the car is very squared up and the rear taillights are essentially a spoiler. So all of those things were influenced by aerodynamics. That definitely informed the design as it was being developed.
And you said you've put it through wind tunnel
Yes.
tests. So is there a number you have in terms of coefficient of drag?
We'll publish that, the final number. We have a very good number at the moment, but as I said, the production car, we're still tweaking it in the final stages. And aerodynamics is really about the last percentages. So every little bit helps. So like I said, I think we have a good roadmap.
And being a coupe, of course, it looks great, it looks sporty, but coupes also bring with them the compromise of headroom for the passengers at the back. So what have you done there to minimize that?
To be honest, actually, that's the perception that there's a compromise, but in fact there isn't. The second row has the same headroom like any standard mid SUV. Okay. So whether it's ingress, egress, or overall feeling of space headroom, that's dimensionally the same. But as you said, the perception when you see the car from the outside, you think, oh, okay, it looks great on the outside, but then, am I losing the boot space? Am I losing the head space? In fact, you're not. But one of the things we did was we have a glass panorama roof on this car, and for the production car we're looking at a number of roof systems which will actually open that space up. That natural light coming in actually really alleviates that sort of feeling of claustrophobia.
Right. And when I look at this cabin, it of course looks very futuristic, it looks clean, but at the same time I also find it to be lacking a bit of that emotive connect. So are there elements that we can expect to change inside, like maybe the color, because it looks very dark in there right now?
Yeah, we showed it in one format, obviously, from a color and trim point of view. But as we get, into the production car, we'll be looking at a number of color variants that'll offer the customer, whatever persona, like I said, they feel fit.
And where have you taken the battery placement into consideration for this design? Where will the batteries be placed?
The batteries are like our standard cars, they're all under the floor. So it's pretty straightforward. It's exactly the same recipe that we have on all of our Gen 2 products.
So are you looking at sort of a 50-50 weight distribution, or like a front bias or something like that?
Oh, I think it'll be balanced just right for whatever the performance targets are.
Okay, brilliant. So I think that answers all the questions for the day,
right.
Martin, and we'll look forward to the production variant of this car. I'm sure you guys will also look forward to this car. It will be some time before we see this hitting the roads, and till then there will be a lot of updates coming in on this. So we will be bringing you those updates regularly. Thank you once again, Martin, for this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.